married for different reasons. Americans marry mainly for love, and Chinese emphasize economic matching and other social and economic status matching. Yuanting is fascinated with the differences between the East and the West dating patterns. And one of her many hobbies, we know she has a lot of hobbies, but one of her many hobbies is pairing people up. Let us welcome Yuanting.
Thank you, everyone. Boy, what a topic. Who have seen the most recent action movie, Mulan? Action Mulan movie? No? Nobody? So I guess if you haven't seen it, you don't know who I'm in common with. Which character I have in common with in that movie. Okay, let me tell you. The matchmaker. But I'm not going to force the ladies to make tea or do makeups. What I do is, how I do it is I have a spreadsheet and my personal database of all the singles I know. So I have their age, I have their height, education, hobbies, pictures, if possible. So I have like 5 or 6 columns. And I'm in charge of a large chat group, which is very popular among Chinese. It's called WeChat. So how do you think I get people to participate in our Toastmaster a lot of times? I diligently send out a message every week right before our Toastmaster meeting. I said, I'm in this club. You can try it 3 times for free. So similarly, what I do is a singles. I have this great guy, no name, no pictures, and he's the XYZ. Who is interested? Privately chat with me if you're interested with this guy, in this guy. So that's how I do it. Why do I do it? I'm not charging people any money. So don't get me wrong, I'm not there for the money. I do it because I enjoy doing it. Well, there's another reason. I have a PhD in sociology and specialize on marriage and families, especially on immigrants, marriage, family, whatever. So all marriage related issue or family related issue. So I have some knowledge about it, but it's mostly theoretical knowledge and big data, that type. Sometimes it's not that helpful. But when I tell people I have this PhD, and then they think I'm an expert, sort of. So why do I do it? And so how I do it. So tell you a little bit about the Chinese and their marriage market. In the life cost, in their lifetime, over 90% of Chinese get married. It's actually a little bit even higher 10 years ago. I'm not in that field for about 10, 15 years, so I don't know the most recent number. So 10 years ago, when I did my dissertation, it's about 95% Chinese eventually get married, as compared to about maybe 60% Americans eventually get married in their lifetime, maybe 60, 70%. And the marriage rate I checked yesterday in the US dropped down a new record low in the history. So why so many Chinese get married? Because if you just Wikipedia, I'm a big Wikipedia fan. If you Wikipedia modern Chinese marriage, it tells you specifically, getting married is your social responsibility to be a good citizen. I'm not joking. The government elevated to that level. It's good for the stability of the country. And even in the US, they actually think the same way. They said, more people getting married is good for the, you have fewer child in poverty, fewer crimes. But of course, most Americans don't listen to their government, but the Chinese do. They listen to their government diligently. I mean, also they have selfish reason. They want to pass down their names, lineage. So there's a lot of anxiety getting married, and the parents especially. So marriage in China is not a private matter. It's a family issue between the two households. So, and I was kind of, like Hui, I came here in 1999, so I missed out a lot of things. The most recent show, if you see the dating show in China, you'll be so amazed. The first step, they bring their parents to the dating. First step, their parents have to approve this girl. And then the boys can pick up the phone and say, oh, I like that girl too. And then they started all this, the process is crazy. They bring their aunties, their whole, not just their mom, their other moms and their relatives to this dating show. So, and even the people, the audience can vote. Oh, you should be with this person. And then the final step is that person makes the decision. Can you imagine that? It's upsetting and sickening sometimes. So some of the apps is, if you're not graduate from this first tier university in China, don't even use this app. I'm only interested in the people graduate from Ivy League school or overseas certain schools. If you're not that criteria, don't even bother. It's a little bit sickening to me. And in China, there's corners for parents just in the park, just exchange pictures of their kids because their kids are too career oriented, don't have time, but the parents are really on it. So that's dating in China, but here it's too laissez-faire in the US. People just think romance will just fall from the sky, and you know, they just too laid back. And if I try to fix them up, they probably really get annoyed and think that, why you poke your nose into my own business? I can't do it. I can't handle it. Even though I play video games all day in my basement, I can't do it. So it's just kind of complete opposite, too individualistic here. And it's too calculated in China. How I wish it's a little bit combination of the two. And for the Americans who don't believe that you can be hooked up by someone, these are the two tips I want to give you. If you believe in 6 degrees of separation, do you know that concept? So any two strangers, you can be hooked up by a friend of friend by 6 levels. So any random strangers, you get actually, so open yourself up to anyone that offer you tips, suggestions, or their networks. You never know what's going to happen. So be open-minded. Do a meetup group. Go to the singles club or a church single club. Do whatever, you make it a priority if you want to get married. So strike a conversation in Starbucks. Anything that will help. And so this is a perk for being a Danyang member of this club. If you need some help, you know how to find me. Thank you so much.
Appreciate that. Jonathan, I'm wondering if you could share some feedback with us in regards to Yuanting's speech.
Absolutely. Yuanting, this was one of my favorite, this is probably my favorite speech that you've given. I think you've been a member of the club for about 2 years, and I can remember when you first showed up at Danyang, and what I recall is you basically saying, my boss told me I need to be here, I do statistics. And to see you give this speech, I love your smile, I love your energy, you found this wonderful flow, and in finding that flow through your passion, all your ahs and ums disappeared. I only caught one today. Wonderful use of the Toastmaster for your introduction. You're always prepared. and it shows. You really set the stage through what you gave to Gene, and that's a way to be sneaky and get in more content, but it's also a best practice for letting the audience know what to expect. Your low lighting challenged your camera focus a little bit, and you'll see it in the video. It did not end up being a big deal. It kind of wobbled a little in the beginning, but I loved your attire, and I love the contrast with the dark background, and I love that we could see you from the waist up. Your gestures, your body language was extremely congruent with your content. So as you talked about anxiety, your hands and your face showed the anxiety. As you talked about openness, as you talked about connectivity, all of your body language and gestures were extremely congruent and very natural. Like sometimes people are striving to do it. And with you, like I said, you had this flow in speaking about a passion of yours. You moved very quickly back and effectively back and forth between facts like 95% of all Chinese will marry versus 60 to 70% of the US. And then you also moved into your anecdotes, which I found to be very quick and effective. So again, thank you. And wonderful humor. So talking about Wikipedia and the social responsibility as a good citizen as being something endorsed by the Chinese government and put on Wikipedia and really strongly messaged. You had a lot of little, very quick humor. And again, I loved your smile. I loved your energy. I loved the passion and the flow that you found today. And one of the great joys of Toastmasters is watching other people with a learning and a growth mindset learn and grow. And so over the last few years, it has been just outstanding to watch you grow from a visitor to one of our great ambassadors, regularly inviting new members and really being an ambassador of Toastmasters beyond the club. I think that is the highest level of leadership and service to our club, to keep us renewed, to bring in new energy, and to bring your energy each week. So thank you, Yuanting, for all that you do.
Thank you, Jonathan.